Hello and welcome to IGN Anime Club episode 30. Yay anime!
Yay anime!
I'm Callie Plaguey filling in for Miranda Sanchez, and with me as always is the amazing Megan Sullivan.
What's up?
And returning guest Chastity Vicencio.
Hey guys, woo!
Remind everybody what you do.
I am the producer for IGN's Snapchat Discover channel, so if you go on Snapchat, you can check out what I do every day.
Yeah, and Snapchat has a lot of anime on it.
It sure does.
So if you like anime, which I hope you do,
check out the Snapchat. Yeah.
Please check out our Snapchat because we had some One Pieces.
Yes,
and
we sure did.
We had the
Narutos.
This week
we had the Narutos, the One Pieces, the Totoros, and all the good things. All the good things.
The Umarus.
The Umaru. Oh yeah, we were on.
Yes.
We were on what?
Lazy Sunday.
Lazy Sunday.
It was the anime club laying on a beanbag, and they were eating chips and playing on their Vitas. It was wonderful.
Yeah, we
maybe
had our
we'll get
Umaru
that
hoodies.
file for you later.
Yes.
But let's just get right into it because it's a busy time of year, which is why Miranda is out. She's writing helpful wiki guides for some games that are coming out. So we're all busy, but we've been watching some stuff. So Megan, would you like to start?
Sure. So I'm finally almost caught up with One Punch Man. I missed this weekend because I was busy with a game review, but I am still enjoying the heck out of One Punch Man. I just love you have this superhero who's so blasé and so bored in life, but he's such a good superhero. So now he's going to like official superhero school, which you didn't know existed, in order to get certified as a hero. And no one knows who he is.
That's amazing.
And he's so awesome because the physical tests, like they're like, he's a god, he's amazing, and he's an idiot on the written test because he's kind of dumb. Whereas his robot buddy is like perfect
win
at
them
everything.
all.
No, you can't win them all. But I just love that when he gets really upset, it's only because he missed a sale at a grocery store, like a Target. You know,
Me too.
Yeah, I was just like,
We understand those first world problems.
I feel those first world problems because it's
Spend
like,
less money on luxuries.
yeah, he's so cool. He's so me. He's kind of like a superhero Umaru. He's kind of like lazy at home and
Isn't
super
that what we all
sluggish.
strive to be?
A little bit of a trash baby.
Yeah, he even admits it. Like, I think it's the third or fourth episode where he's fighting a villain and he realizes the guy's not bad. His name's like Hammerhead or something. And he's like, this guy is lazy and doesn't want to work either. So he's kind of pretending to be a /hero/villain. And I kind of understand. I don't want to work. I don't want to be a salary man. I don't know what I want because now I'm like the strongest man in the world and I have nothing to do. And my life is so boring and ton of trash. I relate to this villain. It was really cute. Like, it was a sort of meta moment.
Yeah.
So, yep, I'm watching that, and I'm almost finished with the first story arc in Fairy Tale.
Ooh.
I'm actually really enjoying.
You're really jamming on that one.
It took me like 7 episodes to finally get it.
So are you like
to click.
into it now?
Now I'm super into it, but it literally took like 7 episodes because they throw so much like physical gags and humor at you, and it's like I don't know who these people are or like how this is going to work, but the core group finally gels. And can I say Urza's just like my queen? Like, I love her. She's awesome. And I'm going to ship Gray and Natsu because they kind of have to be fire and ice. It makes total sense.
Oh my god, I love those ships.
It's a good dynamic.
It's a good dynamic. It is. So that's what I'm watching.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Really quick, just for One Punch Man, I am not caught up because I think it's the kind of thing I want to binge. I feel like I'm
It's a
just
good
going
binger.
to just run through that. But every time someone describes One Punch Man to me, I'm like, this sounds like the best thing ever. So I might just
I'm
jump
right there
into
with
that.
you. I think I'm going to binge watch it as well.
I am not super caught up because I'm still playing Yokai Watch. It's cute. But I watched More Beautiful Bones last night, and I don't want to spoil anything. I'm a little behind, so if you're watching it, it's not a spoiler for you. But there was an episode where it kind of remained hopeful, even though it's super morbid. It's about death. It's about finding out, how somebody died. There was this really beautiful moment in the 3rd episode that made me so happy because it was just about, like sunrises and
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's so sweet.
yeah, and I just love that. I love when shows balance that kind of macabre kind of aspect with something a little more cheerful.
Right, when everything just starts getting dark and then all of a sudden it's just like, here's a little ray of sunshine. We're going to be positive and be friends with each other even though the world is going to
It's going down.
It's going down.
Yeah, it's always nice to balance death with life, and I think it did that really well in this episode.
I love that Sakurako is like, her thing is like, she kind of turns into a superhero. Nope, words. Every week I do that. Every week.
It's always so cute too. Your recovery is always like blip, blip, blip.
Yeah, I tumble over my words. It's amazing. But I was going to say that Sakurako is awesome because her Sailor Moon transformation is like putting on gloves and like, let's solve this mystery. And I'm like, you are so awesome.
My queen. Actually my queen. So yeah. And then I still want to watch Perfect Insider when I have more time, which I should have more time now that I'm done with. That we had a bunch of embargoed stuff go up for Fallout, and I had to do a bunch of stuff with that. Now that
all
that's
of the games,
now that
it's very
that's
busy game season.
Now that it's a little, we're kind of in the eye of the storm, but now that's a little calmer. I just totally booped this with my nose. if you're not watching the video, I just kind of gently tapped the
little love tap with the nose.
A love tap, like hey. But yeah, so I'll have more time to watch that because that one always looks really good. This season's kind of weird to me. Like now, a lot of stuff is grabbing me. But there's some things.
It's very intellectual. Some people find it a little too slow, but I get the feeling that everything that it introduces you to is deliberate, and you just have to be patient.
I love that.
So yeah, I had to pay attention really hard in the last episode because they dropped a lot of stuff. You're like, I don't get it. Why are they even telling me this? And I was like, oh, I think I know why, because they're gonna piece this together later on.
Right.
Totally.
So Chastity,
hi.
What have you been up to?
Oh, well, it was our friend Max Scoville's birthday.
Happy birthday, Max.
Happy birthday, Max.
So I got him a bunch of my favorite anime from the 80s as his birthday gift because like there was just this bunch of stuff that he hadn't seen yet and I knew he hadn't seen yet and I was just like, you need to see this 80s anime because he loves the 80s and he loves anime.
He's basically an 80s time traveler.
He basically is an 80s time traveler. I don't know how he got here. I'm interested to find out.
A DeLorean, 8 miles per hour.
It must have been. But anyway, I got him like a surprise pack of just really good anime, and so I got him Bubblegum Crisis, Fist of the North Star, Dirty Pair, and Project Echo.
Very nice.
So all really good. Some of it like is a little dated, but the music is incredible.
The music is amazing.
Incredible. I still to this day love the Project Echo soundtrack more than most soundtracks.
Oh my gosh,
out
it
there.
is so good.
Yeah, it's so good. So
I knew-
you've seen Project Echo.
In fact, this morning I was rewatching a huge fight scene between Eiko and Biko, and they really were going at it.
They go at it.
They go at it so hard. Like Eiko's just smashing things with her kung fu, and Biko is just launching missiles out. It was like legit. Like I'm gonna kick your butt fight scene. It wasn't cutesy wootsy.
It's so much fun.
That's
It's so awesome.
So if you've never seen Project Echo before, I highly recommend it, especially as an anime fan, because they just touch on so many tropes and like it's very like tongue in cheek, and they purposely like make light out of all of the repeated tropes that you see in anime. So it's just like a whole hodgepodge of that, and it's super fun. And it's about this girl named Eiko and her best friend Seiko, and Seiko's just like this typically like woe is me little girl, and she's just like in the middle of this, and it's Eiko versus Biko, and Biko builds all these mechs, and she's trying to take down Eiko because she wants to be Seiko's best friend. And Eiko's just this overpowered kind of like Supergirl. And I think it's kind of implied that her parents are superheroes, but they never quite touch on it exactly.
Yeah.
But it's super fun, and I definitely recommend it. And also, did you like Dirty Pair?
I do like Dirty Pair.
Dirty Pair is fun. Dirty Pair is super
You know what's fun about Dirty Pair is it's sexy, but the camera never lingers. It's never lecherous, and that's what's cool about it. It's
and
like
they kind of own their sexuality.
They do.
Which is what I really like.
I love that. They're grown. They're grown women.
Yeah.
They can take care of themselves. It's okay for them to be sexy. There's never a moment where the camera's just like talking boobs.
Yeah, it's
talking
like,
butt.
Here's the boob. Here's the boob.
Yeah, it's so like they're sexy, but they're in control.
Empowered and they're in control, and it's like they.
This is from the 80s,
It is
too,
from the
which
80s.
is like
the
super
80s.
awesome.
Yeah, it's super awesome. It's from the 80s, and they talk about dudes all the time. They're like, oh, you think that guy's hot? And he's like, oh, yeah, I'd totally get with that guy. And it's just, like, they're just talking like guys would talk to each other, but they're, like, these badass women.
Yes!
Yeah, it's really fun. It's super
my
fun.
aesthetic.
Yeah, right.
They're awesome, and also you said Fist of the North Star
Fist of
and
the North Star
Bubblegum Crisis.
And Bubblegum Crisis.
Yeah.
So if you're into cyberpunk, Bubblegum Crisis is really great. It's short, so I would get into that. It was supposed to be 13 episodes, but it only made it to 8, I think. It's an OVA.
Okay.
And it's very influenced by, like, Blade Runner I would say.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. And Fist of the North Star is just like hyper violent, but it's really good, and there's still some like heart in there. But just like if you want to see just extreme punching and just people's heads explode after the punches, if you're into that, then watch Fist of the North Star.
Yes. Which is complimentary to One Punch Man. A lot of punching
There
going
it
on.
is.
Things
A lot of
exploding.
There it is.
Yeah. Lots of punching.
Lots of punching.
And so this was kind of your, not starter pack, but kind of your like top recommendations for Max.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like you miss these. Like he's like seen Akira a bajillion times, and he's seen like all of the obvious choices, but these were like maybe he missed it. So like maybe you missed these too. So check them out if you are into 80s anime and you like 80s music and you like badass female heroes.
Yeah.
There you have it, folks.
Yeah.
Your top recs from Chastity.
These are the 80s anime you need to watch if you haven't already.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because they're all super awesome. And I'd also
are.
throw in Cutie Honey and darn it, what was the other one I was going to say? I don't know. They're all good. They're all
good.
awesome.
They're all good.
Great. All right. So I think that brings us to our topic for today.
Yes.
Which was very brilliantly suggested by Megan.
Oh, this is the smartest thing I'll ever come up with. The smartest thing I'll ever come up
Our
with.
topic is heroes and villains in anime.
Yay!
So,
Love it.
Wait, because I'm an idiot. Okay, so this is the part where you got to stop the audio and jump to the video because I may not be the smartest or prettiest, but I am easily the weirdest because I brought my Maleficent hat
Very
from
nice.
Disneyland.
Very fitting for
Yes,
the villains
for villains
discussion.
because I love evil
One
people.
of us should have brought a cape.
That's okay.
It's
You didn't
okay.
know this.
It's okay.
So I'm gonna wear my weird looking. Yes, I look weird right now, but I'm gonna wear my Maleficent. She's my favorite. She's my queen.
She's great.
She's
She's
amazing.
your villain.
She's amazing.
Maleficent's
So
great.
that brings me to my first question, which is what makes a good villain, and what makes a good hero? I guess we can start with villains since
Let's start with villains since you put a Maleficent hat
Yeah.
on.
What makes a good villain?
You know what it is? Is there's always more to their story. I think like other than being in just control and fear and respect are sort of two sides of the same coin. I feel like villains are more interesting because they always have a little bit more backstory.
Yes.
So when you think someone like, say, this is a little obscure, but Lord Ashram from Record of Lotus War, he seems like a supervillain, but he has his own noble purpose for doing what he's doing. There's always another side of the story. And they're more complex.
They are more complex.
And they had to go through more to get to where they are. They have
Right.
more almost motivation than the hero.
Yeah, they have more depth almost.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like more complex and there's more depth, and they almost have more personality than some of the heroes. Like you'll have like the main protagonists, and they'll be like, okay, cool, I guess we're supposed to root for you, but this villain is really interesting.
Right.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. I always like villains that are kind of ambiguously villains. Or
kind of
protagonists that turn
anti-heroes.
into villains. Yeah,
Yes.
I like
I like a good anti-hero.
Moral ambiguity. My favorite, if you spoilers for Death Notes. You know what? The statute of limitations has expired on that one.
Yes.
So
Go ahead.
but if you have not seen it, please watch it and take a break from just skip ahead a little bit. But I love how Light evolves into a villain, and I find that very interesting. I like seeing the journey from like what warped you into something evil. I also like the dynamic in that show with Elle, how he's kind of a villain because he's an antagonist, but he's not a villain. It's very much a matter of framing. Like you can frame anybody to be a villain based on who your protagonist is. And I find that
Exactly.
really interesting too.
Yeah, it's all about your perspective, really, because like some villains see themselves as the good guys.
No one ever sees themselves as the bad guy. They always
Exactly.
see themselves as the hero.
Yeah. Well, some people are like, yeah, I'm bad.
Right.
What's up?
Yeah, sure.
But
There's that.
Own it.
yeah, I like those two where they're
Yeah.
just like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll be evil. Who cares?
I get all the
totally
power and money
owning
in women.
this.
It's great.
Who are some of your favorite villains then?
Ooh, I had a list.
Oh,
Because I do my homework.
I don't know who put this in the doc, but whoever mentioned Jesse and James.
that me.
That was so smart.
That was spot on because they are one of my favorite like duos.
They're my favorite together, especially
Yes.
with Meowth
Teams, yeah.
Meowth.
Team Rocket is
Team Rocket is the best.
incredible villain team.
Yeah, Team Rocket is way better than any of the other teams in Pokemon.
Yes,
I'm
they
a
are.
Team
They're
Rocket
the best. They're the
loyalist.
originals, and they're the best.
I'm all about Team Rocket.
They have the most character. They have the most fun. They're the funniest. Yeah, it's just
they're just spouting puns constantly, which is very Pokemon. That whole show's puns in English anyway.
And they're ridiculous, and sometimes they work with our heroes, and sometimes, which is super fun.
The ambiguous villain where it's like, maybe you're just misguided. You're not terribly evil, but you're kind of a jerk. Right. I also love their banter and their rapport, like how they just kind of they do gender swapped costumes a lot.
I love it. I love it.
I love it so much. I'm like, Jessie, you're my queen. I want to be you. And then James is just like, I don't know. There's something about him.
She's so in control too. Like I love it. She kind of bullies him.
Like, listen,
listen, hon.
Listen.
She runs it.
Listen, trash.
She runs that show.
She does.
Who else? Some good.
Vegeta is an anti-hero. I guess he would be a villain. Like you can say that about a lot of Dragon Ball characters, though. Like they are all like they're villains, and then all of a sudden, friendship is magic.
Yay, friendship! We actually have a top 10 anime villains, I think, on IGN that you can check out, and I think he's on there because of that very reason. Where he's like, he's not a straight villain, but he certainly starts off that way. Right. Like when you first meet him, he immediately is trying to look for Goku and pick a fight.
Man, yeah, he's just like, this is a bad guy. Oh, he looks real tough. He's got it out for him. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they're friends. Spoiler alert, not really.
Who else? Cell, maybe?
Frieza. Yeah. Frieza's a good villain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Frieza's definitely a really good villain.
One day we don't have our golden Frieza on the talk
whoops, we failed. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I have like half the cast of Slayers on here because that's like my favorite anime.
Go for it.
And the voice actor Takehito Koyasu like literally does almost every villain in anime. So my favorite villain ever is Reizo, the Red Priest from Slayers. I had the biggest crush on him. So story time in the 90s, because I'm old and I'm going to tell this story, but I had a GeoCities account.
Hell yeah.
And I had a Queen Megumi's Reizo shrine. That was what it's called because Megumi Hayashibara is my favorite voice actress, and Megumi is like the closest to Megan. So I had this whole thing dedicated to Reizo.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
We should call you Megune.
Not Megune, Megumi. I don't want to disappear.
Megumi.
Yeah, I don't want to go out because of a zombie apocalypse. Thank you very much. But it was Reizo.
Too soon, guys.
Yeah.
Too soon.
Reizo, Zetos, and Chaos Dragon Gov. Like, it had a lot of good villains, and they're either super evil or like Reizo starts off, you think he's your friend, but he's manipulating everything. And I like those super smart villains like they make you think they're your friend, but it's like, it was me, Dio. It was me all up. There you go, Dio. There's another good one, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, Dio.
Dio.
It's almost better when they're just more intellectual than if they're just like straight out violent.
Yeah.
Because it's almost more intimidating. It's just like, oh man, who knows what they're up to? They're very crafty.
Yeah, devious villains.
Yes.
Does Hyoin Kyoma count?
Kyoma.
I am mad scientist.
I'm so cool. That is such a weird scene. From Steins Gate. If you haven't been joining us, we watched a lot of Steins Gate these past weeks.
We did.
But yeah, Kyoma is interesting because he creates his own villains, the organization.
Yeah.
You know, he kind of projects that villainous aspect on them, but then he kind of adopts this mad scientist villain thing, but he's a good person.
He's such a good person.
I love moral ambiguity because people are complex. I also love in Kill la Kill, I love Satsuki because
good choice.
She's freaking love Kill la Kill. That was dangerous. I love Kill la Kill so much. And Satsuki, I really didn't like her at first because I was like,
you're
not supposed to.
You're not supposed to.
I love that. I love when there's kind of not a bait and switch, but once you learn more about the character, once you get more depth to a character, you like them more, even if before you were like, you trash, I hate you. Why is everybody a pig in human clothing?
Because they start to humanize her, and you just understand her and where she's coming from.
Yeah, and it's such a satisfying revelation when you finally do get to know her.
Which goes right back to villains are more interesting because they have more complexity, more depth.
Yep. Yeah.
And Satsuki's a good example.
Yeah, she's I think a lot of villains, the characterization comes from trauma or something like that. But I do think it's interesting when the protagonist has just misinterpreted a person, and you, because you're seeing that person through the protagonist's eyes, you kind of misinterpret them too. And it's a cool journey.
You know what's really cool is when the flip side of that is like in Michiko and Hachin, where Michiko is always looking for her boyfriend and the dad of Hachin, and she builds him up to be this hero. And spoiler alert, because I know it's playing on Toonami. I don't know if it's gotten to the end. So if you haven't seen it, close your ears. But at the end,
I haven't finished it either. I'm closing my ears.
Oh,
okay.
Tell everybody.
Okay, so I can't now because you're just going to hear me anyway. But let's just say that it turns out that it's not what you think.
Yeah.
That it's been built up a certain way, but it's not what you think. And I liked that. I liked that a lot.
I think what it comes down to for all of our favorite villains that we talked about, it's always a depth to something where at first you're supposed to dislike this person. You're supposed to kind of, I'm against this person. We're fighting the evil. And then once you get to know them a little more, you start to really think. Yeah, that's the best part of it. I like when anime, and just in general, but with villains also, just not being, one-dimensional in that, sometimes you feel bad for them. Sometimes you're like, oh, I like this hero, but they're kind of being mean to you, even though you're awful.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Sometimes the good guys.
I tell you, Shredder is too much picked on TMNT. Okay, that's technically not anime, but I had the biggest crush on. So James Avery
Shredder?
did the voice of Shredder, and his voice is sexy as hell. And so I had the biggest crush on Shredder in the 80s. But he always was presented as this bad guy. But I guess in the actual canon, there's backstory to it, where Shredder is not quite straight up a bad guy, where he's just playfully fun in the cartoon, but in the actual comic, apparently there's a little bit more backstory about his relationship, and it's more complicated with Splinter and blah blah blah. But it's wonderful when you're like, oh, there's more room for villains to have more story.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
cool.
I like even in shows that aren't specifically good versus evil or heroes versus villains. I always like thinking of the antagonist as a villain, because in Food Wars, Irina is kind of villainous because she's just really mean and sour and she's so against Soma, and you're rooting for him. You want him to do well at the school, and she's just doing everything in her power to screw him up almost, and she's intrigued by him, and it's weird. And there's so much there, and I want a second season. And, I don't know. Yeah. I love villains. Maybe it's because I love Tsundere girls.
Yeah, I like frenemies too. Frenemies are fun.
Yes.
So frenemies are fun. So you've
Frenemies
got
are very fun.
Gray and Natsu from Fairy Tail, and it's just what made me think of it is I'm looking right at this awesome Sailor Mars figure. Yes. By the way, Chastity is wearing socks.
I have Sailor Mars socks.
Sailor Mars
very
socks.
hard to
I keep trying to get her to show people, but
it's a little difficult.
It's a little difficult.
I think you'll just have to believe her.
Yeah, you have to believe her.
Just believe.
But I love that she and Serena, at least in the original anime, they're always fighting.
Total frenemies.
They're total frenemies. I love frenemies.
Yeah.
They're the best. Nagalina, all that stuff.
Yeah, there's not just one type of you think a villain is sitting up in a castle ha 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 ha. I am evil and just terrible. But sometimes your best friend being mean to you is also
that's the worst villainy.
That's the worst kind of
That's the worst villainy.
The worst kind of betrayal.
It is.
Yeah, but you know what? We talked a lot about villains. I think maybe we could talk about happy heroes that maybe do heroism well. I don't know. I talked about L a little bit already from Death Note, just an antagonist but a hero. And yeah, I don't know. That's my biggest example is I love when the hero is not just I'm a goody two shoes. I'm going to make the world great.
I am totally on board with that because that's why I like Lena Inverse and Rio from Burn Up W because they're heroes, but they are temperamental. They're a little bit vain. They're super funny. Oh, I love those kind of heroes where they're not I'm such goody two shoes.
Yeah. I think anime does heroics and heroes differently than maybe Western superheroes, the typical kind of hero you would think of, because you think of Superman, and Superman's
boring.
Superman's so boring because he's just I'm an upstanding citizen.
Actually talking like that.
In the 30s, I don't know.
Which is appropriate, because isn't that when Batman started 30s, 40s or something?
Yeah, but I think anime does it a little differently where maybe heroes sometimes have selfish reasons for doing things. maybe they saved the world because it just happened along their way. Going back to Pokemon, I always think about Pokemon because it was like my first introduction to that kind of dynamic because I was so young. But like Ash just wants to be the best. Like he's not thinking about saving the world.
I don't really like Ash that much.
I don't like Ash.
He's not great.
I don't like Ash
He's not great
as a character.
Also, he should have done more research. He's always like asking his Pokedex.
He's
like,
10.
What's that?
He's 10.
Do your research.
10.
Gary knew his stuff.
He's doing his research.
Gary knew a lot. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think
Gary knew a lot.
Someone likes bad boys.
No, I do like Brock and I do like Misty.
I like Brock and Misty a lot.
I like Brock and Misty.
Yeah, I think, but just the way Ash is as a protagonist, even though I don't think he's a necessarily very good protagonist, mostly because it's the kind of person that you're trying to see yourself in, which are never good protagonists. If you think about the example I always think of is Bella Swan from Twilight, because she's literally just like, I am a palish, clumsy-ish, sort of brown-haired girl, and then like every girl reading it is like, I'm sort of brown-haired.
I could be if I tried.
In the right light, I have brown hair. I'm Bella Swan. Like, so he's kind of like that in a way, but also he's not saving the world because that's what he set out to do.
Right.
Whereas like Superman's like, I'm gonna be great. Like Ash is like, I just want to be recognized as the best Pokemon trainer ever, even though I'm so not prepared for that.
Yeah,
I'm not.
And then on the way, I might accidentally thwart Team Rocket's plans. I like heroes like that in general because they're just kind of like bumbling, like they just stumble into fixing things.
I like the dichotomy between Ash and Team Rocket that way too. I feel like they're just literally falling over each other, like tripping over each other all the time.
Constantly, just
there's no competence whatsoever.
Over and over each other.
Yeah, I also like the revenge dynamic for heroes, like going back to Kill la Kill. Just so good.
Oh yes, the revenge dynamic's so good.
Revenge. Yeah, like the whole motivation. I think the key that I'm getting at is the motivation for heroes doesn't always have to be, I'm going to be good and bring good to the world. Sometimes that just is a side effect from you having this like more selfish motivation. Like Ryuko like wants to find out who killed her dad, and like that's a whole thing. And she's not trying to solve the mystery of the clothes. It's more like, oh, clothes thing's kind of weird.
Yeah,
clothes move and stuff.
These clothes are weird, but
but she has revenge on her mind.
Yeah, she has revenge on her mind, and then maybe that hero evolves. But I like it when heroes don't start out as, too shiny and perfect.
But I love that that's what One Punch Man is about. Like Saitama is shiny and perfect, and now he's bored.
Yeah,
he's like, now what do I do?
It's a commentary on that kind of the way heroes work.
Yeah, like well, you get to be the best. Now what? You have 50, 60 years of your life left. Enjoy.
I love Saitama for that reason because he's just so blasé. He's like
so bored.
He is the embodiment of how I feel about superheroes sometimes because I'm not a huge fan of superheroes. Like I like Batman.
Yeah.
I know you love superheroes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like never got into them, but I love Saitama because the way he's portrayed is just like how I feel about superheroes. I'm like, man, I'd get so bored always winning. For a while, you want to be good at things, and then sometimes you're like,
interesting. You have to have a rival that's really good at thwarting you.
Yeah, you have to have a goal. You have to have like the next step. So Saitama's really
he's wonderful.
He's so good for that reason.
He's so wonderful.
So the way I feel about Ash, I kind of also felt that way about Serena Usagi. Yeah. I was just like, oh, come on. It's like, oh, you're the worst one.
I liked her at first because it was different that she was like scared and clumsy. I was like, that's a realistic reaction. You're a 15-year-old girl. What are you doing? Taking on the Negaverse.
Totally.
But then by the 5th season, it was like, girl, you got to learn coordination.
Yeah,
it's not that hard.
It up. It's been years.
Yeah,
you should know how to walk in a straight line now,
right?
It's like, and all these other Sailor Scouts are so much better than you.
Oh my God, it's all about Sailor Venus. She should be the leader.
I like her. I like Sailor Mars a lot.
I love Sailor Mars.
I just love Sailor Mars because she's got sass.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. Look at this. Look at this pose. I don't know if you can see it very well, but she is sassing it up.
She's so sassy.
She is sassy.
She's doing that Drake thing with the...
don't get us started.
Nope.
Ever since I left the city,
Drake is the real villain here.
he's the best / worst villain.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah.
I love the Sailor Scouts.
Sailor Scouts are.
I was really into the Outer Senshi when they came out. When I found
did
out
not
about
like
them,
them at
I was
first.
just like, oh my god, they're so cool.
Yeah.
like
I've said
Sailor Pluto.
Yeah,
Real
Sailor
cool.
Pluto, so
real
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do not like Uranus and Neptune though. I did not like their attitude problem.
I was into Saturn as a teen, like as like a young tween. I was really into Sailor Saturn. I had a big wall
love
scroll.
her
Yeah.
staff and her look.
Yeah, I love her look, and she was just very like. She was like damaged goods. She was just very sad and tragic, and she just seemed so interesting. And I was like, what is happening to her? This poor girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love hero teams like the Scouts where everybody contributes something like different. Everybody has a different personality trait. I also saw this with, I guess this is maybe a magical girl thing, but I saw this with Madoka Magica also.
Yeah.
Where everybody had a very distinct personality trait, and maybe they had overlapping things, but like Kyoko's the sassy one who's like kind of tomboyish, and Sayaka's the worst one. Sayaka's worst girl. Sorry, I don't like her. She's just like, why does this boy like me? And I'm like, go away. Go away.
Think about other things.
And then Homura is kind of the hero who turned dark. I also love that. I love heroes that turn dark because they can't do the thing that they want to do. I mean, you see that with Kyomo a little bit in Steins Gate, where he's kind of a hero, but an anti-hero because he's not typical, and he could go into that dark route, but he redeems
because he's
himself,
just broken down. I love that they show that, and I like Fairy Tail because it doesn't get good until the group finally gels. Once the group is established, then it gets good because it's really about what everyone brings to the table and how they interact with each other.
Yep.
And so I'm trying to think who else. What other team? There's so many teams.
A lot of teams.
There are a lot of teams.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't think of any now that I've said that because I'm
team.
garbage.
Well, you know what? We're blanking on teams, but if you have favorite heroes, favorite hero teams or duos or whatever, we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. You can tweet at us using the hashtag IGNanime, IGNIME, to share that. You can also email us at IGN_animeclub@IGN.com. And you can join the Facebook group.
Yes.
The lovely Facebook group.
We love our Facebook group.
At facebook.com/groups/IGN Anime Club, and it's the official group.
Wait, one more thing. I'm not wearing it today because we were talking about villains, so I'm wearing my Handsome Jack, not exactly sanctioned by Gearbox shirt, but it is a villain, so I wanted to wear it. But if you want to be a superhero, you can get our IGN Anime Club t-shirt. Kelly, where can they find that?
Go .ign.com/store. So yes, please share your favorite heroes and villains with us. We want to hear that. I think it's time for our very special segment.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Okay, I'm going to take this off. This is just starting to itch.
Who are your biggest heroes/villains/combo ships?
Yeah.
This is a tough
something
one.
I am looking forward to.
Megan's so ready. She has a list.
Curious to hear
list.
your list.
It'll go on forever, so someone else should go first.
I'm blanking.
I always like the unconventional ships, the ships that where like their relationship is like we hate each other, but in a sexy way. So I mentioned Light and L. I like them together.
So hot pairing.
Hot.
I know you're on to me, but now you're on to me. And
hot pairing.
Yeah, the OTP.
Tumblr knows all about that.
Tumblr knows all about the ships. Yeah, I like ships like that where it's like we could fight or we could not.
Yes.
We could Netflix and chill.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, the delicate way.
Think about it. Heroes and villains are always in each other's faces, and they're always inches apart when they're about to fight.
Yep.
I'm just
that
saying.
tension.
It's that tension.
That you go face to face. I'm getting a little distracted. Yeah. It's fun. Shipping is fun.
Yeah.
I'm never too serious about shipping, honestly. Like I'm like, I could take it or leave it.
Right.
But that's one of those where I'm like, Light and Elle should really just figure that out.
Get it out of their system.
All right, Megan, let's hear. You have.
I have a. Oh, there are noises
There are noises in the walls.
There are noises. There's a ghost. The ghost of Elle is really mad at you right now.
Really pissed.
The ghost of Elle is like, I'm not into him, I swear. No, I think it's construction. It sounded like a kazoo. I thought
I was just like, what is that?
I thought a kazoo was playing. Pardon the interruption, folks.
That was amazing.
Anyway, moving on.
So last week I shipped Klein and Kirito because I was like, that's best couple because their bromance is real.
Romance is good.
Bromances are
real
good. One I have is Zealous and Lena from Slayers. Gray and Natsu, they need to figure it out because fire and ice. Who else do I have? I have Kanji and Yu from Persona 4. Because there is an anime on Persona 4, so it technically counts. Because Ari was steaming mad you could not date Kanji in Persona 4. I was so irrationally angry about that because I was like, his story arc is most interesting. I felt like you really like understood him. And for women who play the game, there's only a couple of Persona games where you can play as a female character. So I was really excited that I was like, oh, something for the ladies and a part of the population who always feels left out. And then they kind of backed away from it. And I was like, that's really disappointing.
It's too bad.
It's really too bad because Kanji is the best. I love Kanji so much.
Yeah, there's always that like unreachable person. It's like just out of reach.
Just out of reach.
You're like, I ship you with myself.
Yeah, I do.
Those are my favorite ships. If I'm the hero, I ship you with me. Are you sure you don't have any, Chastity?
Can't think of any. It was a really tough one to come up with. Just heroes and villains together? I mean...
Or
maybe
just
villains.
Oh, yeah.
So there's different kinds of shipping, and I learned this. I've never read Homestuck, but I have a bunch of friends who are into Homestuck, and there's like these quadrants, they call it, of shipping, and like some ships are like platonic ships, and it's like a category of shipping in Homestuck or whatever. I don't know. You correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know anything about Homestuck, but I do Jesse and James platonically, like strictly BFFs.
Got it. Yeah.
They are not together romantically. Like I get very adamant about platonic ships, and more like with romantic ships, I'm like, they could do what they want. But with platonic ones, I'm like, they're definitely not dating. No. Jesse and James are best friends. I'll fight you. So
they're a team.
That's the other kind of shipping that I do is like they're not together. I don't ship it. In a weird way.
But they're always best friends.
Yeah.
Like if they broke up as friends, that would be devastating.
Oh my God, never.
Oh, no.
Who would get custody of Meowth?
Can't even think of that. Meowth is his own guy.
That's true.
He could hang out with both of them.
Individual.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they would be fighting for his love. It'd be like a child, like, no, stay with me. It'd be
Oh,
really
no.
tragic.
That's
Okay,
so
I do
sad.
not want to have. Don't write fan fiction of Jesse and James's friendship divorce.
Friendship divorce. I don't think I can handle that.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Just speaking of ships, we got a question that I didn't include on the sheet, but we had a question from an email, and I should find the name. I'm so sorry. I'll do it right now, actually. I'll go into my email. But we had a question about Tweek and Craig from South Park, because South Park just did a ship episode about them, and they crowdsourced fan art.
Oh my
gosh.
Anime fan art. And the question was basically, how do you feel about how South Park represents like Japanese culture or weeaboo kind of otaku culture like that? And I wanted to tell you that Trey Parker is the biggest weeaboo in the whole world. Any Japanese you hear in South Park is real Japanese. He speaks Japanese. So that was just one of the ship things I thought of was like
so great.
Tweek and Craig apparently has been a ship in South Park for since season 3. Apparently fans are really into it. I don't know. I don't know why. Tweek is weird. It's all about Stan and Kyle. It's all about style, guys.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
So I'm gonna find and credit this lovely person who sent in a question to our email, which is IGN_anime club at IGN.com.
Boom.
If you would like to. Oh, it was Mike Van Putten. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, so that's just one of those things there. Craig's kind of a villain, just going with the theme. But yeah, so ships are weird. Ships are weird, man. People get really passionate about their ships.
Yeah, they do.
I wonder, are there any popular anime ships that you think of that you don't agree with?
I don't know. I feel like the traditional pairings are okay, but it's like I don't know. So I was thinking about Fushigi Yugi the other day because there's it's kind of like a reverse harem thing, and Miyaka and Tamahome are the couple in that, but I always thought Miyaka and Hotohore would have been better because I don't understand. Like sometimes some of the canon relationships are boring.
Yeah.
They're not interesting.
Yeah.
Because they don't have any dynamic. They're like, oh, we meet, and sometimes there's early on tension, and I'm like, I could take it or leave it. It's not exciting. I think that's why people like to ship.
Yeah,
because it's like the canon pairing is always a little bit boring.
That's true. That is kind of why people like write ship fan fiction or even just kind of like have a favorite ship. A lot of people on Tumblr especially do ship fan art. Just because like when you're so starved for an interesting relationship or an interesting dynamic, because a lot of the times there's like crowd pleaser relationships.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they're cute together. But I'm like,
I feel like that's Kirito and Asuna in Sword Art Online. It's like it's the easy, predictable ship. Whereas I feel like Kurisu and Okabe were like the perfect example of you knew they were going to get together, but the way the story arc went and how they were just never stopped fighting. Even when they were together, they never stopped fighting. And I love that they didn't give up that part of their personality and who they were.
Right. Like, I think it's boring when people get into relationships and they're just, like, too lovey-dovey all the time. Like, I like a little antagonistic kind of attitude, which takes us back to the heroes and villains thing. I think the reason I like shipping heroes and villains, obviously I'm drawing a blank on lots of them, but the reason I like it is because of that, you know, we're not going to put up with each other's BS. Like, we'll go at it. I love heroes and villains that way. It's like, bro, what are you doing? I don't know why you'd call your significant other bruh. I don't know, in any universe. Has a guy ever called you dude and you're like,
A guy called me, it was like, relax, man, and I was furious. And he did not get that because he didn't, like, he said it without meaning, like without thinking about it, but I was like, I am not a man. You can't call me that.
I call everybody dude, but if I'm like
I do call everyone dude.
But if I'm dating a guy and he calls me dude, like without thinking, I'm like, oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, so we're on that level. Sorry.
So, okay, that's what we
are.
I
misunderstood.
I'm in the dude zone.
I'm in the dude zone.
The bro zone.
The bro
There's
zone.
a hole in the bro zone. That was an environmental joke.
Hole in the bro zone layer.
Yeah, you know me. I'm terrible.
That was a Marty-worthy pun.
Thank you. I love Marty. But yeah, so I love hearing people's ships because some people get really creative. So if you have some ships, share them. Be clean about it.
Yes.
On the Facebook group especially.
Clean fan art only, please.
Yeah. Yes, please. Clean-ish. I understand that some people don't wear a lot of clothes, especially Kill la Kill people, and that's okay. Yes. But nothing you wouldn't want your mom to see. And yeah, I want to hear creative, like,
I so want to hear it.
Who's like the
ship?
weirdest ship, like people that maybe don't even interact. Like, that's the coolest thing is like, oh yeah, they totally would be in love if they ever met.
Do you want to see JoJo and Dio get together? Let us know.
Not the worst idea.
No. All right, and with that, it's time for the watch party, I think.
Yay!
So if you're just joining us, the watch party is a segment we do where we go into 2 episodes at a time of a show in depth, and we make it a show that the audience votes on, so everybody can join in and watch along with us. So we've just started a new watch party, Gurren Lagann, and we're on episodes 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. So we're not super far into it yet, so you can catch up if you haven't been watching.
It's a quick watch.
Yeah. So what did you guys think of these 2 episodes?
I thought it was great.
You can't hear me staring at Callie, but I am so bored with this show.
Really?
I am bored to death. Which makes me the villain on this episode.
No.
Awesome.
Meg,
I have a tragic
Well, the thing was, I was kind of bored during the first 2 episodes, so me saying I thought it was great is like, oh, good, things are like happening, like they finally fused and you finally see where the title comes from, and
right. Yeah, I love that. In like every show where you're like, hey, they said the title.
Yeah,
I love that.
Title.
That moment, you're like, hey, that's the title of the show. Yeah,
I was like, oh, cool, they combined. That's cool.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah,
nice job, guys.
Yeah, I've mentioned on this episode already that I really like Kill la Kill, and I know Miranda's also a big fan of Kill la Kill, and so I'm kind of watching this trying to see the shared DNA kind of. So that's the part I like most about it is kind of seeing like, oh, that's a very Kill la Kill looking thing. I like it now. It just reminds me of the show, even though, I mean, obviously this came before Kill la Kill, but I like that part. I also really like the art. We did get a comment that I really liked about episode 4, because I thought the animation was a little janky at parts. And this is from Neto Del Toro, a frequent commenter. Thank you, Neto, on our Facebook group. He says, even more confusing than Yoko's feelings in episode 3 was the animation with these 2 episodes, because while the first one, it was more sweet mecha action, one that it actually made me remember Voltron for some reason. The second one looked and felt like when a character in the anime you're watching is also watching an anime. It felt like a parody of itself.
We had a follow-up email by somebody else to explain that, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, someone explained it in the group.
Detail.
Yeah.
They were saying, I guess it had a different director for that episode.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. Like different episodes do like have different production managers and stuff. If you've watched Shirobako, which I wanted to be the watch party, not complaining, I love Gurren Lagann, but Shirobako kind of goes into that. So so that it makes sense. Sometimes different people handle different episodes, and that's why it looks a little different. But it didn't like make me dislike it or anything. I wasn't upset.
I wasn't thrown off completely by it. I mean, I noticed it. It's enough to notice. Like, it's different, but I was fine with it.
Yeah. I definitely. I mean, I talked about liking the art. I definitely preferred the art in episode 3.
Same.
We also got a really cool email, and I actually had to break out different comments or different paragraphs because it was a super long, detailed email from Kyle Baker. Thank you, Kyle. And I thought this was a really, really good way to describe Gurren Lagann. So he says, what I love about Gurren Lagann is its fearlessness to be bold, fast-paced, and indomitably positive. I think what you will see as the show progresses is that it changes significantly every 3 to 4 episodes. That was always my feeling on the show, and is what stuck to me about it. As is foreshadowed in the opening moments of the first episode, this show does the typical constant escalation of enemies, danger, and excitement as you see in shows like Dragon Ball Z, Bleach, and Naruto. The difference is while those run for 200-plus episodes and drag on, they get stale, they get boring. I mean, how many episodes does it take for Goku to create a spirit bomb to use on Frieza, only for it to have no effect at all? Gurren Lagann moves at
exactly 138.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Next time
Did
on
you
Dragon
count
Ball
it?
Z.
No, I just pulled that out of my hat. But I'm not wrong. I bet I'm not wrong.
Probably not wrong.
Gurren Lagann moves at a breakneck pace while never feeling rushed and still developing its core group of characters. And so then it goes on to describe its favorite characters. And I included a little thing about Kamina because I like Kamina.
Kamina's great.
But I thought that was really, really well thought out and well written. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's a really thoughtful email.
Thank you, Kyle.
We love getting thoughtful comments like that. So please continue to send those. But yeah, I like that, I like shows that have a start and an end. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a place for those long-running shows. Sometimes something like One Piece or Dragon Ball kind of becomes your home. Like you return to that show because it just keeps going and you are familiar with the world, you're familiar with the characters. But I like stuff that starts and stops. And that's what this show does well. Yeah. Obviously we are not at the end, but I thought that was such a really thoughtful, astute comment. So I wanted to share that with everybody. And let us know what you think. So Megan, you said you're bored. Is it the action that's boring, or the characters, or what?
There's
what are you bored?
nothing that's gripping me. I don't care for the art style. I don't really care about the characters. Mm-hmm. I don't care about the action. I don't care about their world. Like I have tried so hard. Mm-hmm. Whoever is blowing on that kazoo, stop.
I wonder if the mics are picking it up. There is a weird drill jackhammer thing happening.
It sounds
like the weirdest kazoo.
Or like a saw or something.
Charlie Brown's teacher.
It sounds like a kazoo. But anyway,
it totally sounds like a kazoo.
So you were more interested in the kazoo than you were in Gurren Lagann.
Pretty much.
Bringing it back.
Kazoo the anime.
So there's just nothing about it. It's just not your thing?
It's not gelling for me. Mm-hmm. Now, having said that, because it is so beloved, I'm hoping within I just said that it took me 7 episodes to get into Fairy Tail. It was the same way with Yusha, the Braves, the 6 Braves.
Broca no Yusha.
Thank you. I could not think of the name of it because I'm hot trash. But
because you didn't care for it.
I didn't care for it until the 7th episode, and then it got good. Mm-hmm. And I feel like maybe
that might happen with this.
Might happen where I get to finally know the group together.
Then, you have to see.
Yeah, I think I have to see a couple more episodes before I fully decide. But I'm not gonna lie, I was like, oh my god, this could not be more boring.
Mm-hmm. It is kind of a slow build.
Fair. Yeah,
I think that's a fair thing to say. It's kind of a slow build. It didn't grip me immediately from the first couple of episodes,
right?
For sure.
There's shows that I love that are like that. I mean, I had that with Steins Gate at the beginning of that watch party. I was not a fan. I mean, I didn't hate it or anything. I was just like, I think the difference that I'm noticing now that we've moved on to Gurren Lagann for Watch Party is I don't find as much that I can dig deep into. Get it? Because there's
drills.
Boom! Again, Natalie on fire.
That was an accident.
Drill joke.
But like I'm not finding as much I can break down or analyze about the show yet. I don't know if that will come with time. I'm surprised I haven't watched the show yet. It's kind of something that I'd be into. Like I'm immediately like, yeah, Yoko's my queen. Kamina's my husbando. Like I'm like already like, yes, you're great.
Would you ship them?
No, I ship Kamina with me, and Yoko's a queen, and she doesn't
need nobody.
She's out of everybody's league. She's perfect. Also, her gun's so cool.
Her gun is awesome.
Her gun is awesome.
But the thing is, like, I'm not coming up with as many things to say about the show besides like, this is awesome, this wasn't awesome.
It's very on the surface. It's like you see everything.
There's surface.
You see everything, and that's really it. There's nothing more. It's just like, all right, cool. So we've got this crew, and then we've got these guys that they're fighting, and they're all in suits, and they fight each other in suits. Sometimes the suits combine. That's really it.
Yeah.
There's nothing more.
Yeah.
Yet.
And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Like, I think I like surface level stuff. I need that. I can't always be watching really heavy or like super thought heavy things. Yeah. Because otherwise I would just always be like in a crisis, like thinking about how the world is ending, or not that, but I would always be thinking about what is my place in this world, or I'd kind of go off on a thought rabbit hole. So there's definitely a place for stuff that's not super deep. Yeah. But I just feel bad because I'm like, I thought Kyle, the email that we got said it way better than I could have, just because I'm not coming up with a lot to say about this. I think that's my main takeaway so far from the show is it's cool. I like the things. I like the mechs and the fighting, and
like right now it's like fun popcorn anime, and that's really all it is for me. It's not like I'm not super into it. I'm like, oh, I have to like keep watching this. I have to keep like getting really into this. And it's like, it's fine.
Yeah. But again, there's a place for that.
Yes.
And so I'm happy to be watching it, and Megan is not.
So bored.
At least, there's so much anime that it's almost, I never know what to watch ever. So I like having the watch party, and I think we've received some comments that I read recently. Just people like having that introduction to something, having a reason to watch a show. So.
And being able to talk about it with other people.
Yeah, so that's the good part of having this as the watch party. Maybe we can't come out with like super deep things, but just, having a reason to watch something and talk about it with everybody is the best part.
What do you think about Simon?
What do I think about Simon?
Yeah.
It's fine.
He's there.
He's there. I'm sorry, I don't notice him with Kamina standing there.
Right, that's true.
And his swag.
I like Ron.
Ron's
funny.
Yeah. It's funny just going back to characters. I'll read the other comment from Kyle now that we're on the topic of characters. I just liked the Kamina one. He says, Kamina is my favorite character of the anime. He's brash, he's annoying, he's got no reason to be as confident as he is. Oh, yes, he does. Time and again, he pulls it off. He pulls everyone out of the fire and puts the whole show into motion. Here, in the early part of the show, he takes the mantle of lead character, driving the action forward, dragging the rest of the cast along whether they want it or not. He's one of the odd characters who's completely unlikable, and yet is clearly the best character in the show.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I like the unlikable, but that's what makes them likable characters. I think that is the mark of a good character design. Not art design, but the building of a character is, maybe this, because not everybody's likable. You meet people that aren't great, but they're still people. They still have thoughts and backstories and depth to them. And so, like, it's just cool when, maybe he's kind of a jerk.
They're trash monsters, but they're trash monsters with a story.
Yeah.
They have hearts.
So deep.
And souls.
Everybody.
It's a trash pile for a reason. You got to dig deeper.
Yeah,
I'll see myself out.
That's what the drill's for. Boom, again. Yeah, so share. Next week we'll be watching episodes 5 and 6. So please watch that. Share your thoughts. Share your thoughts on the whole show so far. We want to hear them. Again, you can do that at IGN_anime club at IGN.com. That's the email. You can join the Facebook group. Please join the Facebook group because it's so supportive and great, and everybody gives each other recommendations and is fantastic and shares cosplay. That is facebook.com/groups/IGN Anime Club. And the last one is Twitter.
Yes.
Hashtag
tweets.
IGNIME. And you can also tweet at us directly at
Megan, MEGHAN_IGN.
I'm at Chastity_V, CHASTITY_V.
And I'm at Inky Dojiko.
Do your moves.
INKYDOJIKKO. Yeah, so I think that about wraps up episode 30. We made it to 30, you guys.
30.
Woo! Yes, thank you all for your support and thank you for watching. And we'll see you next week.
Yes.
Bye.
Ever
guys.
since I left it.